it's not easy to get people together.
I'm telling you.
Especially in this bad network of ours in Nigeria.
I think it's better we mute. Then after class, if anybody has a question, then we can have so as to ensure free flow of information.
That's a good suggestion. I think we will buy that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks very much for the suggestion.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your suggestion.
Yeah. So can we start now, please, Jimmy?
Okay, let us start, please. People, anyone that join, I will accept.
Hello.
Yes, so you can mute.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning once again, everybody. Yesterday we started the program, but you know the Nigerian factor, the network thing is not easy at all. I had to switch on the gen, put this on, put that on the network. At the end of the day, we couldn't have a proper communication. So hopefully this morning is going to be a nice one. So as a recap, we said we are going to be starting project management training. And this training is going to be in line with the PMBOK edition 6. The PMBOK simply means the project management body of knowledge. So once again, my name is Engineer Bakare Hameed, a corporate member, Nigerian Society of Engineers, registered engineer with the Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, and also a member of the Project Management Institute, and also a member of the Project Management Institute. Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. I work in Dangote Cement Obajana plants in Kogi State. I'm a mechanical maintenance personnel and also a technical instructor, that's technical learning and development specialist. So when it has to do with technical learning, I can always be of a beacon call. So enough of the introduction. We move on to the training objective. Basically, is to understand what project management is all about, to acquire the knowledge of the project management methodology in line with the PMBOK Guide 6th edition. Also, this training will enable us to equip ourselves to develop and manage projects, which will be in line with the PMBOK edition. And probably some of us that might be having interest in writing the exam, some of us that might be having interest in writing the exam, this will be a kind of introductory section to prepare you, to encourage you to write the exam. We all know how valuable the exam is in the market, in the labor market. So that's that. So the outline, if time permits us today, we are going to have two sections. The first section will be the overview of the project management. Then the second section will be we'll talk about the project management processes and knowledge areas. So in the project, as a quick one, when we talk about the project management processes, these are basically the processes that will be carried out in order to meet the project objectives. And they are not far-fetched. We have the initiation, we have the planning, we have the execution, we have the monitoring and control. We also have the close project or phase. So the knowledge areas too. The knowledge areas are quite important. Starting from the integration management, to the scope management, to the schedule management, to the cost management, to quality management, risk management, resource management, stakeholder engagement, procurement management, and lots more. There are basically 10 there. So as time goes on, we'll be talking more about it. So it is also of interest to know that as a project manager, we have like 49 processes that you can always take. You can always make use of in order for you to achieve your project objective in producing your deliverables. So those processes will also be what highlighted as time goes on. It might not be today because, of course, you know, time might not be on our side. So that is that about the outline. So we'll move on. We said PMBOK. PMBOK basically stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. So it is a recognized standard for project management processes. So it promotes the standard what? Vocabulary for discussing, standard vocabulary for writing and applying the PMP concepts. Still on the screen, we have the PMI. It's basically the what? The Project Management Institute, in which I am a member of the institute. So the institute is basically responsible for project management development programs and certifications. For more information on this, you might visit the www.pmi.org. What is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor that is undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Let's analyze this definition. We have some key points there. We can underline that, which is the first one is the temporary endeavor. We also have the unique product, service, or result. Now, when we say temporary endeavor, what do we mean? Temporary endeavor simply means that project, it has a what? A start and an end date. Are we together? It has a what? A start and an end period. But that does not necessarily mean it's going to take a whole long period of time. But what they're just trying to tell us there is that it has a definite start and end. So when we say to create a unique product, result, or service, what does that mean? It simply tells us that at the end of the project, something is produced. What is produced? Is this what? Product, service, or result? For instance, now, in the construction of the third mainland bridge in Lagos, a project was carried out. The project took a particular period of time. Are you there? I guess we are together. So now, what is the result of that project? The result of that project is the bridge that was constructed, that you and we are now making use of today in order to what? For economic and social benefits. So that is what that simply means. It can be the end result can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a result. In the case of the bridge that we talked about, it is a what? It is a product because a bridge is constructed, so we can see it. In some instance, whereby it is what? A service. Basically, maybe introduction of the initially we were using the 2G network. Before you know it, it turns to 3G. Are you getting it now? So that means a unique product, service, or result is created at the end of the project. So moving on, a project can also be defined as a set of inputs and outputs required to achieve a particular goal. So what are we saying? We have inputs. what are the things that I'm going to add for me to achieve a particular purpose? That is what input is all about. I want to build a house. What are the things I need? I need sand, I need cement, I need iron, I need steel, and lots of other things. Those are the inputs that we need to set up in order for us to what? To build that house. So now, we said output. What are outputs? Output is just like the product, result, or service. So after the project...
Sorry, engineer. Please,
yeah.
I think some people are waiting to join. I don't know how to join them. I don't know. Please, can you check it there? I don't know.
Let me view.
Some people are waiting. I don't understand this.
Okay, I've admitted them. I've admitted them.
Please. I can't.
Yes, they are joining now.
Okay. Please check. Any other person? Because
I can't. Yes,
sorry,
yes, they are joined.
Sorry, engineer. Can you make Prince a co-host so that he will be attending to those who are joining while you concentrate?
Yeah,
you know, he's the one that created
host, but I can't.
He's a host. Yeah.
Okay, who is
they are in now?
Who is talking now? Let me make you a host also, so that you understand it, you can add.
Yeah. Who's the person, please? Can you signify?
What's the name?
What's the name of the person that...
What's your name? Let me make you a host too, so that I can help you. Huh?
Chukuma,
okay. Chukuma. Oh.
Okay.
I don't know how to use it that much.
Okay, but no problem. I would as they are entering, I'll be adding them. No problem. Okay. I think they are in now.
Okay.
Prince Jimmy, I don't know, since they are just joining us, what do you think? Should we do a recap or should we just continue?
Sir.
Since some people are just joining us now, should we continue?
We have to continue. More people are joining. We can't go back.
Okay, all right. So as we are saying, we said the outputs, that is the product, service, or result that is what produced to achieve that goal. We want to build a house. So now, what is the end result? It is the house that is what? Built. In the construction, let's just say in the construction of a road now, maybe an 100-kilometer road, what is the output? The output there is the road that is constructed. So what are the inputs that we would need? Basically, the inputs, of course, we will need some material. We will need some human material. We will need human resource. We need physical resource. The facility materials like the bitumen, the excavator, all those construction equipment. So that is what that is trying to tell us. So I now said, simply put, a project is a series of tasks that need to be completed within a given period in order to reach specified what? Outcome. That is to tell you that a given period, it is a what? A temporary endeavor. It has a definite start and a definite end. Okay. Just hold on. It seems I'm having some kind of... I'm trying to move to the next slide. Okay. Now, what is project management? Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet project requirements. Look at the keywords there. Application of knowledge. What do we mean by knowledge? That means you have a particular competency that you have learned, that you have acquired over a period of time. It might be in costs, it might be in scope, it might be in risk, it might be in what? Quality, as the case may be. So you apply this knowledge, you apply these skills in order to meet the project requirements. So when we say tools and techniques, Tools and techniques basically means what? The things that we need. For instance, if you want to cook soup, what are the things that you use? Of course, you need a gas cooker. You need your pots. I can see Prince Jimmy laughing. That is something that we can use. At least it makes it easier for understanding. You understand? You need, you want to cook egusi soup. You buy egusi in the market. You buy the ugu and the likes. So those are the things that you need in order for you to achieve that goal. Is the tools and the techniques. Are you getting it now? So now we said the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. So we now go further by saying that it is the practice of initiating. It is the practice of initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing of the work of a team to achieve specific goals. This particular definition is attributed to Wikipedia. As time goes on, we would know what initiating, planning, execution, controlling, and closing they are all about. So look at what is on our screen now. This is a kind of what? An overview of this is an overview of stakeholders. When we say stakeholders, stakeholder can be an individual. It can be a group. It can be what? An organization that have influence on project objective. What are we trying to say? Their influence can be positive, it can be negative. Who are the project stakeholders? A project stakeholder can be a sponsor. They can be the project team, as is shown on our screen. The project team basically encompasses the what? The project management team, the project manager himself, and other project team members. They can involve the functional managers. They can involve the operations managers. They can involve the customer. Are you getting it now? So that simply tells us that all these people, they can impact or be impacted by that project that we are trying to carry out. So that's what this is trying to tell us. So we talk about the effective project management. Effective project management, when our project is being managed effectively. When our project is being managed effectively, we can what? Have the following. You can meet our business objectives. For instance, let me use here that I am as an instance now. Dangote Cement presently now is the largest cement in the world that produce cement from one single unit. We have like 5 lines. So it is the largest in the world. A line was just completed of recent. That's line 5 to produce what? Cement. It is going to produce cement. It's going to give us, let me just say, like 3.5 million metric tons per annum. So that is a business objective. That is a what? A business what? Objective. We want to increase. Somebody is trying to enter. Let me admit the person. We want to increase our what? Our income. That's the reason why we have been able to what? That's the reason why we have been able to what? Implement that line 5, which is of course a project. Why did we call it a project? Because it started at a particular period and ended at a particular period, though it is still at the commissioning stage now. Another one is satisfying stakeholders' expectation. We said earlier on that who is a stakeholder? We said a stakeholder is a person, group, or an organization that can be impacted or impact a project. So that means, what are we saying? That stakeholder can have a positive influence on the project. It can also have a negative influence on the project. So, but in this case now, they are basically the what? The positive stakeholders. Because for us to meet their expectations, we are going to carry out the project. When you manage your project effectively, you can be more predictable. What am I saying? For instance, we are going to start a road is to be constructed. We are what will be the duration of the project? Let's just say it's going to take 6 months. Because you have been able to manage your project effectively, so you can predict that, okay, this particular project is going to end at the end of 6 months or thereabout. That is what predictability is trying to tell us. Another one on the screen is increases chances. It increases chances of success. It increases chances of success. You know, in a project can be successful and a project can be a failure. If a project is properly managed, the chance of success is high. But if it is not properly managed, the project might fail. That is what that is trying to tell us. Now, the one on the board is trying to tell us on the screen. They said, deliver the right product at the right time. Of course, when we want to start a project, we have scope telling us that, okay, what is scope? These are the things that are needed to be done. That is telling us that the work to be done and only the work to be done on that project. So any other thing, we don't need to add them. It will be a kind of what good plating. As time goes on, we shed more light on what those are. You resolve problems and issues. There is no project, of course, there will be conflict. So project management also involves proper conflict management. Because if conflicts are not well managed in a project, it's going to impede the project objectives. That is that. So you can also what? Respond to risk in a timely manner. What is a risk? A risk is basically an uncertain event, which when it happens, it can affect the project objective. So the risk can be positive. The risk can be negative. Positive risk, you can call them opportunity. So that one we enhance that, we accept that. But negative risk is better we run away from negative risk. So when project is properly, when a project is effectively managed, you will respond to risk in a timely manner. Because in the process, let me quickly talk lightly on this, but we are not going there today. For instance now, if you want to manage risk, in the process of risk management, we have like 7 processes there. What is the first one? You plan the risk. When you plan the risk, what is the next step for you to do? You identify it. When you identify the risk, there are some other processes you take. You perform some analysis. You perform this analysis qualitatively. You perform the analysis quantitatively. You plan your risk response. You implement your risk and you monitor your risk. If all these processes are carried out, of course, you respond to the risk in a timely manner. Another one is optimize the use of organizational resources. As we all know, resources are scarce. So resources that are scarce, if not properly managed, of course, there's a problem. So project management enhances what? The optimization of what? Organizational resources. That is that. Another one that we have there is identify, recover, and terminate failing projects. There are so many reasons why project fails. It's part of the slide. As time goes on, we'll shed more light on that too. The other one on the board is managing. Mr. Jimmy. Hello, Prince Jimmy. A message is popping up now from Zoom telling us that they are going to cut us off in the next 10 minutes.
I've sent a message to that effect. If it's time out, I'm going to reconnect. So everybody should join again.
Okay, so everybody will join again.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes interval because of the. So once it's locked out, I will reconnect again immediately. So everybody should join in again.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So as we are moving on, we said proper managing project management effectively, you manage what? Constraints. What are constraints? Constraints are basically limiting factors. Those are things that can affect the success of the project.
I don't
Hello, class. Sorry, as you are entering the
Jane, please turn off your mic, please. Hello, Jane. Emmanuel Lidu, turn off your mic. Emmanuel, are you there? Please turn off. Thank you. So, engineer, you can come.
All right, good. So now, we're talking about managing constraints. And I said constraints are basically limiting factors. Those are the things that must be satisfied. Because if you don't consider them, that project is not going to be a success. They are basically scope, quality, schedule, cost, resources. As time goes on, there are some other ones. Customer satisfactions, risk. Those are some constraints that as time during the course of the program, it might not be today, we'll shed more light on it. Then the other one is balancing influence. Balancing influence of constraints on projects. Of course, for instance, we have scope, we have cost, we have schedule. All these constraints, there is this interconnectivity among them. So you have to balance the influence of scope on cost. Let me give you an instance. How do you balance scope and cost? In a particular project that is to be done, you have been told that 100 kilometers of road will be constructed. Your stakeholder, your customer or your sponsor, customer now comes that, engineer Chukuma Uga, this road, I don't want it to be 100 kilometers. It's going to be, I want it to be 120 kilometers. Don't forget that we said earlier on that scope are what? Scope is basically the work to be done, and only the work to be done in order to satisfy the project's what? To meet the project's objective or requirements. I already, maybe 100 kilometers of road will cost maybe 5 million naira. If a customer is now coming now telling us that he don't want us to construct that road of 100 kilometers, we want it 120 kilometers, what will happen to the cost? Of course, the cost will increase. So you, as a project manager, you have to have this ability to balance influence of what? Constraints on the project. That is what that is all about. The last one on the screen here, which is manage change in a better manner. What is change? Of course, we all know that change is the constant thing in life. Today, I can say this project will go on. Tomorrow, I might decide that this project will not go on. So, as a project manager, you have to properly manage change. So, this list that we've discussed now, those are, although we might have some other points too to add to this. But if you follow all this, you will manage your project effectively as an individual, group, public or private organization. Now, what happens to a poorly managed project or when there is absence of project management process? We have a project now, and this project is poorly managed. What will it result to? On the screen, it can result to a mixed deadline. Are we together? In the, maybe I'll use another example. You know, our electricity situation in Nigeria is very bad. We have epileptic supply of electricity. And now the federal government is trying to what? The project has been contracted to a German company, Siemens, that will be funded by the by the World Bank. I think it's around $750 million or thereabouts. Siemens will tell us that, okay, this project is going to take like 2 years. The stakeholders, the customer, okay, fine. We, the Nigerians, okay, Siemens, we are expecting you to finish this project so that we start enjoying constant supply of electricity in the next 2 to 3 years. But now, Siemens as an organization is not managing the project as it ought to be. The project will miss the deadline. The project might take more than what we have been promised. So that is why a poorly managed project will lead to what? A missed what? Deadline. Another example on the board is cost overruns. Cost management is also one of the knowledge areas in project management process. If cost is not properly managed, of course, you have budgeted that you are going to spend $20 million on this project, but the organization is not managing cost effectively. Of course, you are going to spend more than that $20 million on that project. So that is what cost overruns is telling us. Another one is poor quality. What is quality? Quality is basically conformance to requirements. Quality is what? Conformance to what? To requirements. And if the requirements are not met, that means quality is not achieved. If we poorly manage our projects, of course, it's going to create a whole lot of problem because the customer is not going to accept our product. It's not going to accept our deliverable. So that is that. Another effect of poorly managed projects is what? Rework. I've invited an electrician to my apartment to do some some wiring connections in my house. I gave him the specification that this is what I need. Use this quality of wire. Use this. At the end of the day, the technician failed to use the requirements, the specification I gave him. At the end of the day, I won't accept the job from him. That means if I have paid him, he has to do the work again because he has not managed his work properly. So that is that as rework. Another thing that we have there is the uncontrolled expansion of projects. Of course, a poorly managed project will lead to what? Uncontrolled expansion of projects. That is when we'll be talking about something like scope creep. Some people will just come, some customer will come. They want to add another work to the project. So we have to control that. So a poorly managed project will lead to creeping. It is called scope creep. So that is that. Then another thing is loss of reputation for the organization. For instance, MTN want to launch a product. And this product that